Okay, today I'm going to show you how to download a character from Mixamo, any kind of character, and we're going to put it into a pre-built third-person controller from Unity. And you can then make it into a prefab and put it into any scene you want in your project. Now, this should have been a fairly simple process. I ran into a few problems, and I'm actually going to highlight those as we go through this, but instead of making you suffer through my um, other video where I was having to figure out where my missing scripts went, I'm going to just tell you what you need to know here. So first, let's go ahead and open Mixamo. You'll want to create a free account and so you can download the characters. Everything in here is free, but you just want to have the account, otherwise you can't download. Okay, now there's two tabs here. You've got a character tab and an animation tab, and we're just going to be working with the character tab today. And you can choose any kind of character you want. Just click on it and you'll see it here. And then over to the right, you'll see this download button. So if you click on this download button, you want to, in the drop down bar, make sure that you have FBX for Unity. And you want to make sure the pose is in a T pose because that's what Unity recognizes. So go ahead and download that. I've already downloaded mine. And next, we're going to go to our asset store. You can click here and go to the asset store, or you can access it through the hub. Either way, I'll bring up the hub and you can go to resources and you can see here that you can get to the asset store either way. So I already have the asset store open and I want to show you what you're searching for. You're going to search for Unity third person controller. And it looks like this. It's like a little robotic character running through a Pro Builder level. And if you click on it, it will show up like this. And you're going to download and open it in Unity using your package manager. So I will go to my package manager. I've already downloaded that. Okay, the second thing, after you pause and download that, you're going to need to download Cinemachine. Now, Cinemachine is found in Unity Registry. You can search for it using CIN and it should pop up. You're going to download it and it should automatically install into your project. I'm just going to put my phone on silent so it's not beeping through the whole thing, and download it into your project. Okay, so once you have those two things through your package manager downloaded, let me remind you, you open your package manager in the toolbar window here under package management, package manager. I have mine docked here next to my hierarchy because I find it works really well for me. I just slide over my scene view and just click back on my hierarchy when I'm done. So I'm now back in my scene here. I'm going to maximize this so you can see it better. And I have everything set now to go ahead and create my character here. So I am going to first import my character. I have created a folder here. I'm actually going to delete everything in here so that I can re-import it for you. And I do this by holding Command Shift and deleting. Okay, I'm going to re-import my character here for you. My character is on my desktop. It's an FBX file. I'm going to drag and drop it into that folder in my project under characters here. And I'm going to go over the import settings. So you have to do a few things to this when you import a character from Mixamo. First, you want to be on model. This is really usually all you need to do to set to default. You have a preview window here, which you can make bigger or smaller, and scroll down for all these other things. This one should be pretty much set for you. You don't really have to change this. Um, Most of the characters in Mixamo are around 1.7 meters, but they may be slightly different. And that was what had happened to me before. So I'll explain what to do if that happens. Next, you go to rig. Now, it's very important that for animation type, you switch it to humanoid because the default is generic, and that's usually for like four-legged characters or characters that are like a ghost or something that doesn't have a basic human shape. Okay, and then click apply. Go to animations. If you sometimes it'll show that you have an animation that was attached. It looks like we do have an animation that's attached, although it's not doing anything. So I really don't want to bring this animation in because in our third person controller we already have animation. So I'm going to deselect import animation and apply. Next, I'm going to go to materials. If you look here, I don't have any materials, and my Sporty Granny is just a gray mesh with no materials or textures. So I'm going to fix that by extracting textures, and that's going to go in my character here. So I'm going to choose it in my character folder. You can see it's already getting better here. And I'm going to extract materials and also save those. It's great. It's already auto-assigned them here, auto-map them. But if it hasn't, you can map them by dragging and dropping them into the correct slots here. So right here I've got eyes and it was matched into eyes. You can also do it by clicking this little selector button over here and finding them this way. Okay. So now my import settings are all complete, and I have my Sporty Granny down here in my character project. Sometimes it's easier to put all your materials and textures in another folder inside of this so it isn't so messy. But okay, now let's go to our Unity starter assets, and this is where we're going to find our prefab for the third person controller. So I go into the third person controller and I go into prefabs, and I'm going to take this nested parent armature unpack. Now there's another one with a capsule, and this is just a capsule flying around here, which is fine if you just need to have something for your camera to follow, and later on you can change it out. But this is the actual robot here. We'll just drag and drop it into our hierarchy, and you can see it here. I'm going to drop down this arrow bar, and I'm going to go to my player armature, and I'm going to bring the character up above my plane, or you can drop your plane down, either way. Now the problem is you want to make sure that you see this capsule collider that's on my character. It needs to be above the ground so that the character can detect your plane that it's walking on. We can go ahead and test this. All right, this comes to another problem. Let's unplay. This is a frequent problem that happens all the time. Because we have multiple cameras in here and Cinemachine is working, and you can tell it because of this little symbol here. We have two main cameras, and what's happening then is they're competing for our attention. So on the default main camera, I'm going to select it, go into my inspector and uncheck this and turn it off, because we only want this camera working, which is in our collider, in our package. So now we have our working controller, which can walk around, and you can spin around with the mouse in different directions, and you can jump and things like this. Okay, so now we just want to substitute in a couple of things to change this to our Sporty Granny. So if we go down in here and we go to our player armature and drop that down, we have a bunch of different things here, but the first thing we need to do is the armature. On our import settings for the Sporty Granny in the model, we had said create an avatar from this model. So we're going to use the granny model and switch it here to whatever one this is. If you don't do this, you'll find that when you switch out your character mesh, it'll be sliding around the plane. So if it's not walking and it's sliding around, that means you forgot to change out your avatar. All right. Next, we're going to go to geometry and drop that button down. So in this one, we don't need this armature mesh. If you turn it off and on, you can see it's the actual mesh of this robotic character, and we're going to go ahead and delete that. We're going to instead go find the character we downloaded. So in my scenes in my project folder, that's why you have to be organized. I am down here on my sporty granny, and I'm going to drag it up onto, so the arrow is on and hovering over my geometry, and let go. This is going to make my sporty granny a child of the geometry. And now you can see she's in the spot. And it looks pretty good right now. Let's test it and see if we have to do any adjustments. So she's slightly sinking into the ground, and that's because she's a little bit smaller than the other character. So, but she's functioning properly. And we want to just double check a few things. We can go onto our player armature, and you can see that the capsule is far away from her. So we want to kind of adjust this a little bit. So the easiest way to do is go here, and we just need to slide it over on the X a bit because we want to make sure, and you'll find that under your character controller down here, and we can just adjust this X. Actually, I think an easier way, as I think about this, is if I reset my position here of my sporty granny. So I reset her position to 0, 0, 0. That might actually get us much closer to where we need to be. Excellent, because we had this on 0, 0, 0. And now we can just do some slight adjustments on her capsule. She may even be fairly close. You can see down below that her feet actually are not completely covered by the capsule, and that's one of the reasons she's sinking into the ground. So we want to lower it down a little, and that's on the Y here. Let's just offset this down slightly and see how she does now. Very close. Okay, so just a few, she's slightly hovering above the ground, so it's a little bit high, but you can just adjust it till you get it to just the right amount, and she's on the ground. So now she's on the ground here and offset and should be working pretty good. So you may have to adjust that capsule collider. It just depends, because if it goes in placement, you can reset both of them to 0, 0, 0. That makes it the easiest way to do it, or just slightly offset it if your character coming from Mixamo is a different height. All right, so that's almost it. We're just going to make her now a prefab variant, and I will go ahead and do that. I'm going to put it next to my scene, actually. So I'm going to drop it down here with my test character scene, so I have a new one. I'm going to rename it her Sporty Granny third person. So I have it, and I'm going to drag and drop it down into this project folder, and it will ask me, do I want an original prefab or a prefab variant? You can do either one. I'm going to make it a variant, so I have it here in case I want to adjust something on the first variant. And now I can use this and drag it into any scene I want, just by dragging and dropping it. So now I have my granny character connected and running with a third person controller. If you drag it into a new scene, always remember that the default main camera may need to be turned off so it doesn't conflict with the main camera that's inside the character controller. All right, I hope this was useful to you and you make something really fantastic.